Hello, this is Waswa, and tonight is going to be the second night of my nightly chats that I'm calling Rot in the Art World, which sounds rather dramatic, but that's what I want to call it right now. You'll notice my channel is called Evil O, and that's a moniker that I somewhat gave myself after many, many accusations that my own artwork was Orientalist in some manner. And so I decided to just appropriate that and embrace it and make it my own. So I've called myself the Evil Orientalist for years, shortened to Evil O. So that's why my channel is named such. To continue on what we were talking about a little bit last night, I want to talk tonight about, once again, politics in the art world, but I want to talk about an incident that happened a number of years ago here in India. I was invited to organize a symposium of speakers for a photography festival in Panda, which is in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. It's south of Chennai. It was called Pandi Photo. It was the second incarnation of Pandi Photo. And these were all like really good people. These were my friends. You know, I was very happy to be invited, very honored to be invited. I was very pleased that they trusted me to organize the symposium. And it was up to me to invite various people. I invited people from China, from Japan, from all over India, and then of course myself as the moderator. The theme of that year's festival was water, and the festival was to address through photography water in all of its various forms and issues of water. So during this symposium, we had, I can't remember the exact number of speakers, but we had a large number of speakers. The talks extended between a Saturday and a Sunday, I believe it was. It was 2 days of talks. And then at the end, we wrapped it up with a group discussion, and which was open to questions from the audience. Now, it shouldn't have been a big surprise to me, but most of the speakers concentrated on issues of water more so than photography. So they talked about the Anthropocene, they talked about global warming, climate change, which are all very important things. I'm certainly on board with the whole idea of global warming, and it certainly is something that needs to be discussed more than it is discussed. So I was happy with that. There were talks about pollution, how it related to environmentalism, how it related to wildlife, water shortage problems, everything under the sun, okay? And how all of these things affected the lives of everyday people in India and around the world. Flooding was part of it. It was a very good series of talks. I was very happy with the whole thing, honestly. But on the last day, the second day, in the evening, during the symposium, the roundtable discussion, I think we called it, the roundtable discussion at the end, when all the speakers got together on stage and fielded questions from the audience, and I was asking them to talk among each other. I brought up something that to me was bothering me throughout the whole weekend of discussions, and that was, I said it was very interesting that we were at a photography festival, and yet there was very, very little talk about photography. All of the talk was about the social issues and to some extent the scientific issues that revolved around the theme of water, but there was not talk about photography. And by that, I mean there was not talk about what makes a good photograph. Why are some photographs better than others? Why are some photographs selected? Why are some photographs deselected? The techniques involved in making a good photograph. How does photography adjust to the contemporary world, the social media digital age, which has so radically altered the way we approach image making, and the way we see image making, and the way we talk about image making, and the way we share image making. Now that might sound like it's getting off the theme of water, but you would think that in a photography festival, which was devoted to photography first and foremost, photo was in the name. It was Pandi Photo. It was not Pandi Social Activism. It was Pandi Photo, a photography festival. Why had we talked so little bit about it? And when I brought that up, which I did in a very short, nice manner, one of the participants on the stage was actually a friend and somebody I really like. I mean, once again, none of this is personal, but he really plunged at me and he said, "Waswo, you have just totally dumbed down this symposium." He said that you have just lowered the level of conversation tremendously. And I was a little taken aback, because how is wishing to discuss photography at a photography festival dumbing it down? How is dumping it down to talk about the art or the craft of photography as opposed to the politics of what is being photographed? That bothered me a lot. And I think during that series of talks, the only photographer who actually talked to some extent about the process of image making was Pablo Bartholomew. He did talk about it. After I was attacked after my question during the symposium, another one of the participants, Atul Bala, came to my defense, and he said, well, yes, he sees a lot of his work as poetic. And where was the discussion about poetry during the run of this festival? Now, I bring this up tonight not because I mean to pick on Pandi Photo or the participants or anything, or even the issues. All of it was fine. But I have to go back to it. It seemed rather symptomatic as to what has happened in the global art community these days. Artists no longer want to talk about art many times. I shouldn't even pick on the artists necessarily. I would say the organizers of art events, the organizers, the curators, for lack of a better word, the power structure that maintains these things. Now, they work hard. I mean, I know the woman, and she's a dear friend, who organized this with her team and with her board of directors. Not picking on them at all, but I question the direction. I question the direction as to why was photography as an art form asked to take a back seat to the political and social issues. It certainly needed to be up there and discussed along with the social issues. I'm not saying the social issues weren't relevant, because they were. Certainly they were relevant. But it became all-encompassing. So I just want to say that tonight. It's a small point. I'm going to be making points every night of one sort or another about things I see that are wrong in the art world. In future videos, I also want to pick on, my first video, I really accused the left wing of doing a lot to inject politics in the art scene, and I see that globally. But here in India, many times it's the right wing that injects politics into the art scene, and with a very corrosive effect, especially here in India. The right wing has done horrible things. It's not just the left. So I want to say that right away. But how do we find in the humanities, because to me the humanities, literature, and art, they worked best for many, many years when they asked people to take a look at themselves, to take a look at others with sympathetic eyes, to put themselves in the shoes of others, to feel how others might feel. Art was something that broadened your emotional horizons, broadened your visual horizons, and really let you see the world in a much more thorough and encompassing manner. And I think when art is asked to form a function that is so highly politicized that it effectively becomes propaganda, close to propaganda, I think counterintuitively, it actually does its own agenda a disservice, because art then becomes cheapened. It becomes cheapened. And I think it actually loses the effect that it once had on people. I think that's a big issue in our society right now. I think people, the common person is many times now not concerned about art anymore. They're not really thinking about it. They think it is elitist. They don't think it relates to them in any manner. And I think that's because they are not finding any, I want to use the word spiritual sustenance in art anymore. And that is one thing art, once upon a time, gave us, was a spiritual sustenance that helped us live in this world. I want to go into that next time I talk, probably. So if you're enjoying these little chats, please do like this video. Please subscribe. It'll help me get the word out there. And please tune in next time I have one of these rambling talks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have comments, leave comments. Tell me I'm all screwed up. Please do. It's fine. Or give me a word of support. And thanks again. This is Waswo, the evil Orientalist from Udaipur, Rajasthan. Good night.